Hello guys and welcome to another video. In this video I want to talk about books. Books that are overrated and underrated. Before I get started, I just want to say that this is all my own opinions, my own experience watching the adaptation of the books and reading the books themselves. Alright, so I hope you guys got your coffee, juices, snacks, so I can begin. We're gonna start with the overrated books. The number one, the books that I think it's overrated, getting more hypes than it should be, is Twilight. I mean, I watched the movies first, then the books. I tried to read the book. I honestly tried to read the first chapter of the book and I couldn't continue. I just stopped. Twilight is an American fiction which follows a high school girl named Bella. The story starts after Bella moves with her dad into a rainy, gloomy state, and when she attends school, she meets this mystery yet handsome, irresistible guy, but it turns out he's a vampire. And there, where our dangerous romantic begins. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with that book, story, movie, whatever it is, but I want to talk about the most thing that made me stop reading it or dislike it is, firstly, her friends, like Bella's friends. After like the third movie, they are nowhere to be found. Like, what happened to them? They vanished, they're dead, no ending, nothing. The plot was, for the whole movies, I like vampires, villains, werewolf, yeah, mystical creatures, yes, good, nice. But the plot though is like revolving around Bella and how she found Edward as her Prince Charming, and that her life is now meaningless without him, and how Edward fell for her. Well, technically speaking, fell in love with her, but I don't see that. I just see that he's possessive of her because he cannot read her mind. Like, none of the vampire's abilities work on Bella. Like, what's up with that? But only one person can control her emotion, which is, I forgot his name. What's the name? Alice's boyfriend was Casper. That's like, but how? Okay, none of the other vampires' abilities work on her, but how it came to be that, like, is she have like a mind barrier or something, or like, we need a story for that, like a backstory, like, oh, like she's a descendant of some whatever vampire high goddess, whatever, something to explain that no one can use their abilities on her except for that one person. Like, seriously, there's a lot of holes with that movie and the book. And another thing, Jacob imprinted on Bella's daughter, and Bella married Edward because she wanted him to turn her, but he didn't. Like, why? She married him so she could be a vampire, but he refused. Like, and the ending, no one even died. How is that for not a dramatic ending? Like, whatever, we're done with this one. Okay, so the second movie that I want to talk about is the Hunger Games series, which has also been adapted to a movie series. The plot is, a girl volunteers in exchange for her sister's position in the game where she participates to win, and the prize is food, to win a food game. And the third book is Divergent. Divergent is also have been adapted into a movie. So both Divergent and The Hunger Games are a dystopian fiction where both worlds are divided into fractions. My reason for not liking these two series is because they have the world building with the plot and everything, which got me interested. However, as we go through with the story, there is no character development with the main plot. Like, okay, we know that you have to get through this in order for you to win or to justify it or prove yourself. But how can you prove yourself when you didn't get better within yourself? You know what I mean? Like, improve yourself in order to win. Looking within yourself. You know, some spiritual improvement. There's a love triangle. It always involves the main character with the best friend and the secondary person that who's either a bad boy, the villain, or whatever that third person came from. And it's kind of toxic to have a love triangle, but I do love me some love triangle, but not always. Like, it goes on for the whole series. Like, come on. She loved him, but she loved me. She loved Michael, but she don't love Jax. Like, Jax give her butterflies, but Michael gives her headaches. Like, come on, seriously. Don't give me that. I don't want to know what he gives you. I want to know the ending. I honestly didn't fall in love with this series with those. Not one bit. And moving on to the fourth and fifth book series are Harry Potter and the 50 Shades of Grey series, which also been adapted into movie series. Those two series are so boring that I wish that I didn't even know about them. I couldn't just sit there for 2 hours and watch a movie. It keeps going on and on and on with no. But there are a few twists, but the twists are not enough for me to get interested. Harry Potter's twists and turns are not so exciting for me. Are not exciting for me to keep on and watching and reading the books. Same goes for the 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey is a twisted Cinderella story where our girl, and one day she goes to help out a friend, but she meets this Prince Charming that who would give her the world, give her everything she could ever ask and want, but he's scary, but she stayed. That's weird and creepy. And lastly, book number 6 that I want to talk about is Dare Me. Dare Me is a teenage fiction, crime horror-ish thriller book, and it follows or to be more specific, 2 best friends and their cheerleading journey and the plot twist. With that plot twist that I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to spoil it, but I did not like it. I did expected more, and I honestly do not know how this book got a series, a Netflix series. Like, come on, why would you give this book a Netflix series? Why? I chose those 6 books to talk about because there are the most hyped and overrated books, especially in the bookish community, in the booktube and the bookstagram community. That's the majority of fans they have, and for me it's kinda annoying for me to see Harry Potter and Twilight fans, because I do not understand, or I do not see how it's still in its full glory as it first came out, especially Twilight. I mean, when Twilight first came out, I was like, oh yay, vampires. But now, and I look back like, really, how is this even approved? Like, the acting, the CG and everything, it's so wrong in so many levels. Harry Potter has its points for being a good story, but it's dull, boring for me. And now let's get on with the books that are unrated, the books that didn't have enough hype, the books that didn't get enough attention, the books that didn't see the daylight enough for them to get a movie deal or a series or a Netflix series. Number 1, the first unrated series is Caraval. Caraval series is a story follows 2 sisters trying to find a way out of their island, and when the chance has come, the 2 sisters must choose. So this series is so good that I am still not over it, even though I have read it and finished it like last month, and I'm still not over it. Literally. I do want to reread it, and I do recommend other people to read it, and I do hope in the near future that this series would get a movie deal or a Netflix series. And the second book is The Lunar Chronicles. The series follows a girl. The story follows a girl named Cinder, which is similarly as Cinderella, but in a twisted, more futuristic storytelling with a lot of twists and surprises within the series. I do hope that in the near future that this series would get a movie deal or a Netflix series. I do wish more that it would be a Netflix series, because it would really make me live into the fantasy with Cinder and her companionship. Also, I do think that The Lunar Chronicles would be an alternative reading to the 50 Shades of Grey. And the third book series that I want to talk about is Penryan and the End of Days series. This series follows a girl trying to survive after angels have descended to Earth and controlled and ruled by the angels. This series would be an alternative to the Hunger Games and Divergent world, without dividing districts and fighting for food and humans fighting against each other. This series is humans against angels, a higher being, instead of fighting with humans. And the last book that I do wish it gets more recognition is The Stars Never Rise. It's a story about a girl that she fears for her mortal soul and are too busy to survive. However, she tried her best and for her soul to live, until one twisted event change everything in her life, and she'll do whatever it takes to protect herself and her sister. This series is a young adult fiction. Penryn and the End of Days and The Star Never Rise are two book series that I almost never see in social media or hear people talk about it or even being recommended, because it's so underrated that no one gets to read it. And I do hope that when you guys listen to this video and get interested in reading them, as I will link every book I have mentioned down below in the description if you are ever interested. And before I go, I want to talk about the acting and the casting of this adaptation. Firstly, talking about Twilight, I have nothing against their casting. However, they lack chemistry and their acting is a bit twitchy, like twitching. And the rest of the books I have mentioned earlier, I have nothing against their acting or casting. It's just like the whole story, how it moves from scene to scene, was just boring for me. And speaking of casting, I know I haven't listed this, and it's a Netflix series, Wings. When it first came out, I honestly didn't like their casting. Like, how is this and this considered to be the same as the cartoon, like the fiction version of them, the drawing of them? I mean, seriously. I really do not mind the adaptation, but you gotta stick to the descriptions of the person as much as possible as you can. Like, this and this is no. I mean, I have nothing against those actresses and actors, but you gotta choose. You gotta choose to the much similar description of the character and person for that adaptation. Just stick to that. It would be best. And for other adaptation that no one even expected or even wanted, for those books or cartoons or comics, just don't do it. Please do not torture me. Those are my honest opinions and thoughts and experience while reading and watching the adaptation of those books. They are solely my opinion, no one else. And I do not enforce those ideas on anyone else, but I'm just sharing my ideas and my insights on them. And also, please don't forget to please do comment and tell me what you think and your thoughts about those books. If you like more videos like this, please comment down below. Thank you for listening and watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.